Do here is look through some of my old files. So around I don't know when. This was around the start of 2001 or like the fall. My computer was hacked while I was working on Graal 2001. And so like there are um a lot of various things that you can see in my old hard drive, which you can't download it. If you can get a hold of like Spider or somebody back then who kept a copy of it, so many people downloaded it. So there were 76 megabytes, which is a lot back in the year 19 or 2000. So you're talking about like 76 megabytes of content and stuff that I was working on. And this is like the tip of the iceberg. They hacked me so many times and deleted my files. So I lost so much of my work over and over and over again. But around this time, I was working on various things, and you can kind of peruse some of the folders here. I'm not really sure what Web Suite is. Yeah, it looks like it was November 17th is the latest I had accessed my hard drive. So they must have hacked it around November 17th of 2000. So there's a bunch of stuff here where, oh yeah, it looked like they were going deep into whatever. If you look into the underground projects, you can find a number of different things I was working on here. So this was where I believe it was the first Galactic Labs. Yeah, you can see ZL right here, ZL50 logo. The first Galactic Labs is my creation. Like, there's a lot of people who think that a lot of the stuff that, like, on Graal 2001 was their creation. It was not their creation. Like, it was my stuff. Like, when I had left Graal 2001, it's because I was constantly getting hacked. As you can see here, I was being hacked in November. Then I was being harassed. I was being called the F word. I was being screamed at on the servers. People were freaking insulting me. Again, people were sending me pornography. People were making comments about my sexual orientation. I was 12. Like, at this time, I was 14. It had been going on since I was 12. But at this time I was 14, so it was really getting to me, and I just couldn't take it anymore when you have like grown adults and people in the community who are like sniffing through your sexuality and talking about your sexuality constantly. And Stefan and Unixmat thought it was funny. They wouldn't do anything about it. So I just ended up leaving in February of 2001 because they were taking all my money, and I couldn't even get the money from my own content because they were stealing it to protect my computer, to buy a new computer, to get antivirus software, and all that stuff. So anyway, you can see through a lot of these different files here, a lot of different things that were going on. So I was working on different websites to promote certain things. And this is just one of dozens of websites. I was creating a bunch of different websites all the time to promote my projects. It seems like some of this stuff is accessible, some of it is not. But you can get an idea of some of the stuff that was going on here. So this was one of the websites I was creating. And I believe this was to promote the Bomby Boppets, which is around the time that, when Graal 2001, it was an aspect of Destiny. So let's go ahead and see if we can. Let's see here. How about let me just open up a tab here and find hold on. Trying to find, it would have been Graal map old Yeah, so if you look at the old maps, we're going to give you some history that needed to be told and still needs to be told. Um, this right here is, as you can see, Destiny right here, the size of Destiny and the size of Glotica, which is this blue underwater world. And there's like, if you look in closely, you can find a waterfall in the top right corner, which is pouring down into the world. So this should have been right here, but as you can see, it fits like right here where the water is. I had never really decided. That's kind of where I was planning on putting it, but I had never really fully decided exactly how it was going to wind up in this world. But logically, I was planning to put it there. I do remember at the time I was also juggling ideas of maybe making this an underwater cave world. But that's probably not what I was going to do. I think I was going to just ultimately decide to put it down there, and that would have been the best decision. And you can see how huge the map of Destiny was. So you have this whole chunk here with this whole chunk here. It's literally the size of Graal Classic. So when Graal went paid to play, my content here was the exact size of this shit here. And it looks far more interesting. You can see how more interesting. And when Graal 2001 released, which was my game, that was also a massive map filled with my stuff and characters. And was bigger than this, and they were selling that. So you're talking about this right here is the size of this map. If you take the size of this, if you take the size of Destiny here and Glotica, this blue part, you will see that it is literally the size of the main map. And that was just the tip of the iceberg of it. So Glotica never got released because around this time, you can see how Destiny just seems shoved in there. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't even fit with the world. And there's clouds surrounding it because Destiny was originally its own server. And I'll prove that to you today. A lot of these things that you've been lied to about, I'm going to finally prove that to you. So, because if we go through the nix.org, there's a lot of trauma there. I just never wanted to look through it. But if we go through the nix.org, man, when they stole that hard drive, it was like pulling a ladder out from underneath me, or the rug out from underneath me. It was so intense because I had so many projects I was working on. Like I said, I had Glotica, I had Destiny, I had so many different things I was doing. And so anyway, Glotica is a part of Destiny. When they're like, oh, Destiny is just a tiny part. No, it fucking is not. There was no auto level generator when Glotica was created. That big fucking thing. You see this whole Destiny map with the big Glotica blue, the big blue underwater sunken city. Look how massive that is. I laid all those tiles by hand. And you can see it's not boring like the rest of Graal, which is like a ripoff of A Link to the Past, which was stitched together mostly by Pachuca, who left and said, stop fucking using my stuff. And it was ripped off from Zelda 3. When you're looking at Destiny here, you're looking at a giant game the exact same size as the main server. That is actually creative and interesting. You have an underwater world. You have a world with red trees and, and gravity towers, and I had like a carousel on my house and magical boots, and you could go we had like these underwater or underground cave systems. There was a witch and a centaur. There was different, other many different quests, gauntlets you could get, different temple parts. You could also go through, different parts of the stores. The Armageddon's trading post, that was part of Destiny. But you have these huge clouds and stuff here. So there was also a sky world. So when you're talking about Glotica here, you're talking about Destiny here, there was also a sky world. Not only was Graal 2001 my fucking game, but you have this water world, you have this sky world here, accompanying Destiny, and you have the main map of Destiny that were all one piece. Stefan and Unix Mad started chopping up my stuff, forgetting parts got lost. Like Glotica never got released, but it showed up on the map. Like, why was it there? Nobody knows what that is except for me, and it shows up in my news posts because they chopped my game up and tried to make it theirs, and they rebranded themselves as a game publisher. So like none of this fits on the map, but you can see that with Destiny they fit together. I had never merged them properly because by the time they stole Destiny, it was through like Unix Matt started threatening me. He's like, I'm gonna fucking sue you if you don't just fucking like let me do what I want with your stuff. And as a 12, well, I was 13 when he started doing that, and I was just like, I don't know how to argue with a 30-year-old. So because when you're 13, you're scared, right? Like you're scared of adults. So I just didn't do anything. I was like, okay, I guess like you know better than me. I'm just a kid. So I had no idea what was happening. But when I had added Destiny to the map, you guys, I stuck that there. A lot of the tiles on the tile set, those are mine. I'm telling you, a lot of the stuff there's a lot of stuff in this game that is mine that you have no idea was mine. Glotica was supposed to be released. This is a part of Destiny. Look how fucking massive that is. If you quantify how big Glotica is, and how big Destiny is, and how big Graal 2001 is, and how big Hyperflash was. Hyperflash never got released. That was another thing. They hacked my computer, but you can find it. If you can get a hold of the old archives, you'll have access to like my old Antago.zip, which was released by Nextdoor, and we're going to go through that in this video. If you can get a hold of that zip file somewhere, there's a lot of content in there it's a part of this content. But Stefan and Unix Mad just started like ripping my stuff up and claiming it was theirs. It's not. It's all one piece. It was always one fucking piece. They ripped it up and stole stuff and lied, and they had no idea about the other stuff that was part of it. And they were threatening me, so I was like, okay, well, let me just like do what you tell me to do, and then I'm going to leave. You can see in my news post that I was quitting and stuff because they were threatening me. But like you can see in my zip files that there was a lot more going on than people were talking about, because you'll see it here that it's listed in my old file directories. You can see it, and I can vouch for you that these people are lying. So like, the main map, for one, Unix Matt didn't even make any of it, and he doesn't own most of it, and a lot of it was ripped off from Zelda. The only like real actual like creative stuff, like when the game went pay to play, so you can see like Destiny here and Glotica. Glotica wasn't released. I don't know where those files are. I don't know where they are. At this time, I was getting hacked constantly. I was being harassed by adults. I was being sexually assaulted and harassed. Mentally assaulted, I guess I should say. Not physically, obviously. But like mentally, just like constantly like accosted. That's the word. I was being sexually accosted constantly by people fucking online from these gross ass adults and shit. So I couldn't take it anymore, and I had to get out. So to be clear, yes, I was being sexually accosted, not physically assaulted. But it was persistent. It was a lot. You can even see some of it on the Nix.org archives, where they started like talking about like, oh, Antago's, like this gay guy, and they're like saying like weird sexual stuff to me. Like I was 14. It was so gross, dude. So like, yeah. So there's this big piece here. That big chunk you see of that underwater city, this is part of Destiny. It always has been. It belongs at the bottom of Destiny. As you can see with the water there, it is an underwater city. And I do just kind of want to talk on it because, like, I never did get to release it, and I wanted to do stuff. Like, it took so long to make that map. Do you see how huge that is? I had to lay all of that by fucking hand. Again, this was before level generators. I had to, like, lay all of that by hand. That is a massive fucking land piece. Like, how big is that? That is, let's see. So this is one. If this is, let's just pull it up. If this is one level, then you're looking at about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, maybe 6 levels wide. Maybe 5 or 6 levels wide? I'm thinking like 5. I'm thinking like 5 levels wide. That's 5 levels wide, and this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6 levels tall. So like 5 by 6. That is 30 levels that I had created by hand, filled with houses, filled with all kinds of stuff. On top of all the stuff that was in Destiny. I finally have the file. So there were 23 main world, overworld levels in Destiny, and there were dozens of quest levels and stuff like that. So we can figure that there's like 100 graphics or something, less than that, less somewhere between, yeah, somewhere under 100 graphics, but like a decent amount, a lot of graphics basically, and NPCs and quests and stuff. And then there was Glotica, which never got released, you guys. And the reason it didn't get released is because I started stealing all my fucking stuff. It's not that it didn't exist; it existed. That was not a forged map. Like nowadays, like there's tools to auto-generate levels and stuff. At this time in the year 2000, 1999, that's not how those levels got made. There was no such tools. I laid those by fucking hand. 30 fucking overworld levels, just the overworld levels for Glotica alone, which is the underwater world, on top of Destiny, on top of the sky world I was creating, on top of all of the individual like levels, and then all kinds of stuff for Graal 2001, right? Like tons and tons of stuff for 2001, Graal 2001. A massive amount of work laid by hand. This was not auto-generated. It's not just shit thrown together. It wasn't stitched together by guilds. Like a lot of like what you see like in the main Graal Classic world was thrown together over time by like random people, like 100 different people. My stuff was laid by hand by myself. There was some stuff contributed to the original Destiny map by Freak Plus, so don't ever not give him credit. He's a good guy. But like I'm talking about 90% of it was mine. That's a massive amount of fucking work. Glotica was all by myself. Hyperflash was by myself. I had a friend, FLGR, who helped me with coding some of the bosses. But I had to build all those levels and design those bosses all by myself. The graphics, the concepts for it was so much fucking work. There was supposed to be a sky world. There is a sky world somewhere if you can get a hold of my Antago.zip files. It was never finished. It was more kind of theoretical. It was very inspired by like Bomberman Sky World. And so like some of that stuff needs tweaked, I guess. But like it exists and it was very interesting. It was a very interesting world, especially like for a kid to have made. There is an underwater world that goes to the south of Destiny map. They're pretending that never existed. We can see it in the archives. It wasn't forged. Where is it? Why was that never there? Why is Glotica attached by one level? Why is Destiny attached by one level? And they both look like big chunks that belong together. And Destiny is surrounded by clouds. And Glotica looks like it belongs right here. It fits right here where the water is. See how it's exactly as wide as that water? Like at the southern part of the Destiny map? Because it is the underwater world of Destiny. It's part of the Destiny map. And then there's the sky world that was supposed to expand beyond the clouds here and also expand the map. That never got added because I got hacked and chased away, and Stefan and Unix Matt started stealing all my stuff. People, they just started like ripping it up. It's like a dog. Like they were like dogs. They just started stealing everything that was awesome and just like forgetting things, and other things got lost. Where is Glotica? You fucking tell me. I don't even know if it's in my original zip hard drive that got fucking stolen. I do talk about Glotica on my news post, and you can see it fits down there right with Destiny, but it was lost. Like Pachuca's levels is lost. If you look into the hard drive that was uploaded to the site, you'll see a number of different things here, such as levels I was working on or editing, the Galactic Labs kind of underground projects. You can actually find an old copy of that website somewhere. It was me and I think it was Ganman who I recruited him to be. So I was professor and professor, just like we weren't really those characters. It was just like we were both filling those, writing those characters kind of individually in this like fake story of the Galactic Labs and where the bombies were discovered. So I was like, I think I was handling professor and he was handling professor. And so there was a whole Galactic Labs, like a secret like symbol for the whole bombing world, the Graal 2001 world, the Destiny stuff. All that stuff just got chopped up again and shoved into Graal 2001, which is why Glodica disappeared and nobody's ever seen it, even though it's on the map. It's just like it's like one of those phantom worlds, like a mystery. Like, what is that? Where is it? How do I get a hold of it? I don't know, because I was being devoured by dogs, ripping all my stuff apart and claiming it was theirs because they wanted to rebrand themselves as a game publisher because my stuff was marketable, their products were not. So, like, I don't know where Glodica is. I'm going to go ahead and here, and I can't get into my files. I don't know what was in there. But let's take a look into the Ant User 212, and that was just a random name I used for the folder on my desktop, Ant User 212. I wanted it to sound kind of like techie. And it was like the folder on my desktop where my work was. So in here, you'll see like a list of all kinds of like folders and files and stuff. Let's see here. So a bunch of different like Swift files. You can say I was working on websites, Flash stuff, animations for which the .ani, I think that was done inside of Michelangelo. 1998. And then there was a Graal Flash movie. Ooh, if you could get a hold of that, I wonder if that's, I don't know. Look, so there's one of the bosses, Hyper Flash 1 boss. Here's the Hyper Flash folder. In the Hyper Flash folder, you can see there was a whole sky world, guys. There was a whole sky world. This is part of Destiny, guys. This is part of it. It's real as fuck. When I'm telling you guys that like I had tons and tons of stuff and that like I was creating worlds, and it's not just like a few things that people stole from me. They're lying about what I was doing. They kept stealing my stuff, deleting it, and then retroactively, and they keep lying about what I was doing. Because they want to rob me and they want to rewrite history into claiming that I just didn't do anything and I wasn't doing anything. You guys, there's proof all over the place that that's not what happened. They're fucking lying to you. These people are child predators and they're lying to you. Like, you can see my hard drives were being hacked. Why was my hard drive being hacked and nobody else was? Because I am the fucking biggest creator. My stuff is the games that people were fucking paying for. People were robbing me constantly. Why was I the creator of the first pay server? Because I made tons of stuff, guys. This is all I did all day. Like, I just made games and animations and graphics. This right here, oh god, that's interesting. That's an animation. I don't want to talk about that. But there's my boots. There's a big thing of boots. I had different levels. Oh my god, the NW test readme, and they wouldn't even let me on the team. It's so funny. I don't know what that is. The bank beta. This was, I'm not sure who sent me. Some people sent me test stuff because again, I was, I'm a gatekeeper. In this whole fucking folder, this is some of it's gatekeeping, but the majority of it's my stuff. So like, let's see here. The Destiny folder. Let's take a look at that. So in the Destiny folder, and this is just the tip of the iceberg. This is just one part of the Destiny folder. You can see that there is a ton of files here. So you've got like houses. This is Armageddon stuff. His trading post. This is Outer World stuff. Quests. The boot shop. The cave entrance, the cape. This is the church, the farmland. Some of this stuff was freaks too. Like the stables are freaks. I don't know why they removed freak. Like, that's really offensive, honestly. Like, freak's stuff. Like, he's the god of insanity. Like, he actually. Freak's badass, and Freak was honest to God. If I'm being honest with you, you guys, like, I was killing it back then, especially for 1999 as a child. Back before like things were like so automated and there were so many resources. These things just didn't exist. It was like whatever you could make from your imagination. It was early internet days. Anyways, like Freak Plus. His name is FREAK with a plus. So I don't know if it's Freaked Like it's the plus sign is supposed to be a T. Like Freaked. His name's probably Freaked. I never spoke to him with my voice, but we were friends through ICQ and stuff, and we were always talking. And like he is a fucking good artist. He was just such a good artist. Like I think it was the animation, the original Swift file, the Flash Swift file from the GraalOnline.com, where like the dude walks up with the bomb and like drops the bomb in front of the house and it blows up and then it loads the site. Like, if I remember correctly, that was Freak. Like that was Freaked. He created that. He created that. Um, he was killing it, dude. Freaked was fucking awesome, and he was my buddy. And like, they just did him so dirty. So, yeah, there's like the farm. There's the full heart. When people are like saying like Destiny was not its own game, for one, it had its full heart. You can see it in the fucking file name. There's like a Destiny with a full heart. In the news post, I said I had to remove that stuff. Why? Because it was a separate game. You can see there's like garages. There's all kinds of stuff in here. Look how fucking, like, do you see how many levels are in here? Like, how many is that? How many is that? That's like 50, 60, 70 levels or more. 100 levels. 100 levels. Like, how many fucking levels are in this bitch? How many levels are in this fucking bitch, dude? That's like 100. So you're talking about like over 100 fucking levels. Like, you can't just take that from a fucking kid. And that's just the Destiny part alone. There was also Glowtica and Hyperflash. So like if you look at Hyperflash here, if you can get a hold of this was a whole Skyworld that was like it is part of Destiny. It's not it was part of Destiny. It is part of Destiny. They just started chopping shit up and things didn't get released because they started taking stuff out. Just like I said, they were just chopping stuff up. So like if you look in here, there was a whole world being created in order to add to. And my naming conventions were starting to get a little bit better, as you can see here. I was starting to name them a little bit better here. So we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. 23 levels. If that's 23, then yeah, you're talking about like what, 100 or almost 200 of the Destiny game. That's a lot of you guys. That's not just like something that like was being added to the server. That's a whole game that these fuckers ripped off. And then there was like 30 just levels just for the overworld map of Glowtica, not to mention the interiors and stuff. So like this is 23 levels just in the Sky World alone, and this was under construction. Under construction. It wasn't even finished. 23. Look at all these graphics. You see all these graphics? There were quests, there were bosses, tons of stuff. You see just look at all these images. It just scrolls on and on and on. It just keeps going. Just tons of stuff, you guys. There's a whole Sky World. And that is a part of the Destiny world. Everything was, I'm telling you, it was a massive game just growing. And then Graal 2001 is also part of Destiny, and they just kept ripping shit up. And I'm not even proud of Graal 2001 because like that was like a big rushed fucking piece of nonsense that like they started stealing things. I don't want to get into it, but like, yeah, if you look through this folder of mine, you can see all kinds of interesting things in here. Litco, this was like another thing. I wonder if I can get access to that. Yeah, we can. You can see I was actually working on like this was a whole different tile set. I don't know if I have access to this tile set still. Animated, yeah. So like I was working on a whole new tile set. Do I have access to that still? I wonder if I have access to it somewhere. Yeah, I was working on trying to learn how to make a different game. And these are kind of junky because I think they were 14 by 14 pixels. So it's really bad. But I was working on a whole separate tile set. A bunch of the actual pix1.png tiles are mine. if you're looking through all these folders, ooh, AG7. I think that was a good folder. It sounds good. I remember that. Yeah, this was a really. I had you guys my folders. I just because I was a kid, I was so disorganized. There's just folders upon folders upon folders of stuff that I was doing constantly. Yeah, these were like websites. Um, this was what I think. This was one of my websites. Just one of them. The Antago Gravity. This might have been Antago Press even. I think I might have labeled it AG7 just because the first site was Antago Gravity. Um, oh look, the new interface. I don't think I can gain access to any of this stuff. That'd be so cool if we could get that hard drive back. Because there's so much stuff in here, man. Um, and then there's like, you can see there's just tons of different graphics, um, various levels and scattered places. This is where the Bomby Boppers were being worked on, I think. We had like a separate level just for the code. Um, yeah, I was working on a cartoon. Let's see here. I don't think I can get access to that. Oh, cool. Again. Frantic Animantic. Yeah, sounds familiar. I remember that. Frantic Animantic. I don't even know what all that is. I don't think I have access to it. Um, let's see what else was here. Oh, here's the Destiny map.txt. I was looking at this earlier. So yeah, so like if you go into here, well, people who are like lying to you, right? And they're like, "Oh, Destiny was never its own game. Destiny was never its own game." Um, what is this? If Destiny was never its own game, then what is this? Right? Like, what is that? That's an overworld. That's an overworld of levels. Yes, it was its own game. It has its own overworld text file. So people were like, Destiny was never its own game. It was always just like made for or for like Stefan and them, and you barely had anything to do with it. Like, we know that that's wrong. You guys, I have the files on my fucking computer. It's proliferated with my fucking name all over the place. I have the overworld text file because I was the one running Destiny first on my own test servers. I was running Stefano Unix Matt set up a free host for me at one point, and they're like, "Oh, that means we own your stuff." No, it does not. FTP is not a contract. Giving somebody free hosting, this is what they do. They lie to you guys about how life works, and this is how they steal. They offer you free hosting, and then they steal your stuff, and then they claim, "Oh, well, if I stole it, I didn't mean to, and if it hurt you, that was your fault, and I wish I hadn't did that." And if it's really bad, like, I don't actually care because I shouldn't have to pay for that because I'm a good person. So therefore, I'm allowed to take your stuff, profit off of it, and you have to go away. You're the bad person. These guys are psychopaths. Like, all of their logic is designed to just rob people. None of it has any bearing in how life works. There's no logic behind it. They just steal. This is an overworld proving to you. Do you see this? Proving to you. And the Destiny full heart.graal. Why were there was no full heart in Destiny? Antago, Destiny Antago, Tower Entrance. There was no fucking full heart in Destiny when it was moved to Unix Mad's fucking little Zelda clone. So why is there a full heart.graal if it wasn't its own fucking game? And then why was that removed? And by the way, there was a witch's house. There is a witch's house. There's a lot of different stuff. And Destinopolis is the center of Destiny. They're like, there is no center of Destiny. And, Destiny's just a piece in the southern map. No, it was its own game, and Destinopolis is the center of Destiny. And Glodica is a massive part of fucking Destiny. It just... These people just started chopping my stuff up and claiming it was theirs and lying about what was happening. It is one... It's just being ripped apart and stolen. And this is how they were doing it too. They were like, a lot of times they were like stealing my fucking actual fucking content. Do you think that like people were getting like, do you think they were hacking my fucking hard drive and sharing it around because they weren't stealing my files? You don't think that they were stealing my fucking files and my content, my work and creativity? Why were they hacking me all the time and redistributing my fucking hundreds, like dozens of folders? Dozens upon dozens upon dozens of folders filled with hundreds upon hundreds upon hundreds of files of creative work that I was constantly working on? You think that they were just doing that just to fuck for har? You don't think that they've been stealing constantly, other people in the community pilfering through my stuff, taking things, taking ideas, taking content, taking parts, pieces and parts, taking graphics, lying about stuff, rewriting history? You don't think that that's what they were doing? That's just part of it. They were also robbing me in broad daylight, like by threatening me with lawyers and shit. So yeah, you can see that that's 100% exactly what I said was happening. Destiny had its own overworld. It was its own fucking game. You can see that Glodica fits right at the bottom of the bay. Here is Ill Panther. See, they were hacking me and smearing my name so fucking much at one point that like I had to use like pseudonames on various points in order to get things done. So like one time I pretended to be Ill Panther and like I was like opening a franchise. I don't know why they removed the Ill Panther taverns because I freaking got that fucker. I got it in there. And that I did that just to be funny. Just because I was so sick of people. So, like, I went undercover as a character named Ill Panther. I might even be able to show you it. Hold on. Let's see here if this is available. Oh, there he is. Yeah, there's my little Ill Panther graphic. And it was a franchise, a bar franchise. I think this is Kyle's. Yeah, because he helped code the original playable version of Bommies. After I created them, he was so impressed. He was like, "I'm gonna help you code it like into like a playable character," and then like he made a version of his. Ooh, Mantera. Yeah, see, I had access to a lot of different stuff, guys. What else is in here? Just a lot of it. You'd have to look. It's just I was so disorganized. It's folders upon folders of stuff. Naira. See, like I started prepending a lot of stuff with Naira because that was the guild that what's his face fucking stole. Pachuca when he hacked the website, but like Naira lives on. You just have to like. I had to go underground. And so, but like it lives on in file names and things, like that fountain, the Graal fountain. That's actually the Stone Grove fountain. That is not the MOD fountain, like people think it is. It's not the it was not a guild fountain. That was my fountain. I created that fountain, and it was a tribute to gods and also to fallen players who I thought should be gods, like Nick and Fuitad or Futad. I always called him Futad. But then the Nick statue got rewritten into Galen's statue, even though it was originally Nick. Let's see here. What else we have in here? Oh yeah, the party hall. See, this is where I threw like the first. I created Graaloween. There was no such thing as Graaloween. I created Graaloween, and that was with the Bomby Boppets. Like we released a test version of the Bomby Boppets where everybody. uh, created like, so I had like these character designers. There was no character designers. I don't to the extent that we had them at this time. It was like a randomizer, and like you could come in and you could grab like some of the character designers like you see in your profiles and stuff. I mean that came later. That stuff came later, so I'm kind of jumping timelines here. And some of the other character stuff like whatever. But yeah, like but there was like a randomizer character designer in the Halloween house where you could touch it and it would randomize your head and randomize your body colors and weapons and stuff. And so like you could wear like quote unquote a costume to our Halloween party, and like you could collect candy and things like that. And like everybody showed up, everybody who was anybody showed up. But then me, Kyle 0654, and Stefan showed up as Bommy Bobbits. We showed up as Bommy Bobbits, and like that blew people's minds because they've never seen. Up to this point, the Graal engine was not capable of this stuff. But like we really pioneered the engine to become so much better. Like one of the reasons Gannies like came out was because we largely Stefan wanted to make it easier for us to handle the animations for the Bommy Boppets or other things like that, because we were finding it really difficult to do the animations for in order to make the Bommies a playable NPC, because that capability didn't exist at the time. And so like the Ganny system came out for Graal 2001 with in order to support the Bommy Boppet animations, so that you could swap the player's animation. Before this, we had it so that you like had to hide. You had to actually like hide the player and then like overlay the animation and try to like manage the animations on like the timeout loop, which is not the best timeout loop. So like it was really glitchy, but like we still showed up. We still fucking showed up to Graaloween. It was the first Graaloween. It was my Graaloween. I created the Graaloween, and we fucking just like shocked everybody walking through there like these little turtle creatures. It was a day to remember. So we had the party hall pictures. Actually, I think you might be able to download these. Let me see here. Oh, look, they're there. You can download them. Oh, look, you can download both of them. Okay. Let me see here. I wonder if I don't think I can show them without having to switch windows. I don't really want to switch a window. But anyways, you can download those and check them out yourself. But those are the first Halloween pictures. Actually, I think the party hall, that's probably the hall itself. That is the first Graaloween arena. That is partyhall.zip. You can find that on nix.org. And then party pics, those are the actual first pictures of the first actual Graaloween. And it was official. Like I went into the news post and like I made holidays on Graal a thing now, and they turned it into a total like fucking moneymaker now. But like before this, they didn't fucking exist. Don't ask me why. Don't ask me. I don't know why. But like I was like, you guys, like you've got to be festive. This is not working for me. So, I arranged the whole Graaloween event so that people could show up in costumes, you know, as Bommy Boppets. And then it was also the first true sneak peek into the first pay server, which was going to be Graal 2001, which was going to be, my Graal 2001 game, which was supposed to be, it was literally supposed to be a part of Destiny. Like those turtle creatures, the Bommies, were supposed to technically be, and they're just like a Bommy's just like a face with feet, right? Like it's just like an eyes with a face with feet. Like there's like 100 characters, you know, throughout time who's just been like a small circle with feet. So like, but they are still original enough that they're copyrighted, and they are copyrightable by me, and they are my copyright, and it is my property, and it is what was sold. And so like, but they were supposed to, originally they weren't supposed to be like this big fucking thing. Originally they were supposed to be part of Destiny. Like Destiny was supposed to be its own game and is, and Glowdica's a part of Destiny. It's a part of that map. it's a massive underwater city, which is in Destiny Grove in the Destiny Bay, and then and then there's the Sky World, but in the Bombies and the birds were supposed to be part like another part of the Sky World. So like that's where like the NPC server came from. Like I told Stefan, I was like, I need like characters to travel from world to world, from level to level, and he was like, oh, it can't be done. I think I talked to this about this before, and I was like, well, I was like, why is it that I can carry a bird from one level to the next and throw it, but they can't just travel through themselves? He's like, well, that's just the way that works. He's like, because it kind of just like goes with you and follows you, and I was like, then why don't you just? I was like, you need to make like a separate like account server type situation for NPCs so that like we can manage them like player accounts. So like that was all done to. They were supposed to be like the Bombies were supposed to be a part of the Glotica, like the turtles with the water, um, and so like they were supposed to skid through the waters and like find ways to like sink down there, and you were supposed to, but you were supposed to like hunt them or just like walk around them. Um, and there were supposed to be birds flying in the sky, and there were supposed to be a ton of other creatures, as you can see through different files. And I have a bunch of other files that just like weren't part of that zip, um, because I had continued working on things even after I got hacked. I continued working on things. So yeah, like a lot of that stuff was part of like a whole piece, a whole world. What is pix2.png? Um, I don't know. Oh yeah, but you can see there's Growloween, the first Growloween. That was my thing. I invented Growloween. Um, place. What else we got going on here? I don't know what the pyramid is. Um, there was at one point we used to do plays, guys. Like people used to come on my server. Like we used to do these big play productions. Like people would like Gallon and Gandarian. I think I don't know if King Klops ever came. He has a bad memory about things, but I do remember like everybody who was anybody would come on my server, and we would do like Vangel was there, Stefan showed up, Unix Mad showed up, and we just had like the most prestigious people in the community who it was only and they were the only ones who were allowed to show up, and we all would like I wrote a script out, and we would walk through the server, and we would enact a story, and everybody did a part. Like Stefan did a part, um, Evangel did his parts, everybody did their part. Like, and then I would screenshot everybody as they were traveling. Um, but this was just like the main like Graal classic levels that you could boot up on like your own G server. So like I remember doing that, and like we would go through and reenact these lines or like this story where there was like a princess or something, and then I don't remember what they were about exactly, but I remember like screenshotting fucking hundreds of screenshots to the point where like I think I lost the plot. Like I didn't even know what the plot line of the storyline was anymore, because it was so much work getting people. Like it was like herding cats just to get people on the fucking server, but they were all for it. Like everybody was super fucking stoked, and we would all show up, and then by the time it was done, I'd have to compile like 100. Like I think the screenshots were originally bitmaps, and like I would have to compile like 100 different screenshots into an animation using animation software. And so you could go through and see the story. I don't know if these are in. I don't know if they're in my hard drive. If you can find them, that would be freaking awesome, because there was absolutely a whole time. I think we did two of them where we all did plays, like theatrical plays together. They were so good. I mean, they were terrible, but so good just because it's amazing that we all got together to do anything like that. Um, considering we all live in different time zones, and you know what I mean. What is the supernix.txt? I don't even want to see that. Am I like talking smack about him? Oh, it's just. Oh, it's a log. Oh, it's a log. I don't want to read that. I don't really like to eavesdrop unless I need to. Um, the wedding chapel. That's my wedding. There was a divorce chapel. They removed that. I don't know why, but there was a total divorce chapel. So like the wedding chapel had a divorce chapel with it. Ooh, what was Vista? What was Vista? Yeah, I don't know what that was. Was that mine? I think I created a Vista forest. I think I did that. That might have been somebody else's. I don't know. Don't quote me on that. But I think that might have been mine. I don't know. Sometimes people just send me shit. Some things I know are mine. Some things were just like vague, one-off ideas that it's hard to remember because I was 13, 12. I think Vista Forest might have been mine. I think it might have been. I don't know what happened to it. Oh, Tessie. If we could get a hold of Tessie, that was such a cool graphic. I created these tessellation graphics, and it was like they were like these weird like it was like a creature of goodness and a creature of evil, and they were cute. It was like a devil and an angel intertwined, and you could repeat it as a pattern. Like they, yeah, I remember that. Oh yeah, the stone dent. You guys probably don't know about that. There was a fire trident and there was a stone trident. Um, the statues. I think this was where I was first working on the statues. You can see the PSP file where I was working on them for the fountain. I was trying to replicate like a stone texture. I was trying to learn how to do that because as a kid you don't know how to do that stuff. So like, yeah. What is Cyrus? That doesn't sound familiar at all. I don't know. Whatever. Snow tiles. Sidebar FX. No. Ooh, the riddle. Is this the original one? No. Or is it? Golden braids of swirl, twisted, 'tis thine girl. Passed unto the king, lost without a swing, trapped forth the power dwelled. Power masks the truth withheld. One being 'tis, no thief. Ask to whom will give it, the first shall receive. I have no idea where that came from. That's actually pretty. I don't think I wrote that. I wrote poems. I don't know if I wrote that one. I don't think I did. But I don't remember. I was just making stuff constantly. That's just like what I was doing. Like I was constantly making stuff, so I just don't know about some things. Like some things I obviously remember, especially like if I moved it into production. A lot of stuff was just like one-off things. I'm just like, hey, yeah, look. And I moved on to something else. Hey, yeah, look at this. I'm doing something new now. Micah. Oh, yeah. That was like Lord Crazy and Lord Micah. Lord Crazy is still mentioned in old news archives. Lord Micah was his brother. You guys don't know him. He was a real person. Keola was a whole thing. I remember Keola. That was part of Antago Press. I don't know if I have this in here. I don't. Oh yeah, the Graaloween.zip. Oh, the GNet site. I was making so many different weird sites because I was constantly teaching I get bored. Oh yeah, is this the Graal 3D website? I think so. This is it. This is the original Graal 3D. I told you guys I did their website and I was working on that. Captain USA was there. I guess Captain USA has lost his mind a little bit. It's really sad. I had seen that he had kind of lost his fucking mind a little bit. But like me, Stefan, and Captain USA used to fuck around. This was the first Graal 3D, and like I was doing different graphics for it. So like if you could find that old screenshot, I do have it. I have it on my computer. You can find it in different places. Um, there's one with I have like I'm wearing a shirt with the lightning bolt, the Antago gravity lightning bolt with I think it had the orbital swirl on it, and it was like my classic like blue and yellow green colors. Um, I'm wearing that, and we were all kind of like walking around in Graal 3D, just fucking around, thinking about how we're gonna do it. And I did like the logo for Graal 3D, and then I did its website on graal3d.com. And so a lot of times where they got like files, they got it from me. Like right here, you can see like the graal3d.exe. Like they totally once they hacked my they would also they would hack my computer constantly because I always had access to stuff too. That's another thing. I don't think we have. I don't think any of these are saved. If you can get a hold of like my old, I'm telling you, there's like there's got to I don't know there had to have been like 100 people who downloaded my hard drive. Somebody's got it. Somebody somewhere's got it. Forest. Okay, so this forest. Yeah, and then it says like Vistine for cover. I don't know, maybe yeah. So, and this is the forest. It's got the hyper flash stuff in it. Um, with the Bomby Boppet forest or something here. So this is more hyper flash ideas being pushed, played with. So I don't know what DME is. Another website I was probably working on. I was Oh, is that the? No, no, that's not. 4D. I think that's in there. There's a folder called 4D. 4D was such a good one. There was a super cool web design I was working on, and Nougat was helping me with that. Nougat was, if you probably remember him from the the New World team where he was like airbrushing like the splash art for it. He was such a trash bag, dude. He hated me, constantly talking trash about me. I don't know fucking why. I get because Vangel and all these people put him up to it. But then like when I finally sat down and talked to him one day, and I was like, I don't know why you fucking hate me so much, dude. I was like, I don't even know you. And he's like, I just think you're this, 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 and that. And I was like, none of that is true. And then we became friends. He like made me a web design, um, which was like I forget what it was because I was trying to improve my design skills, and he was really good at them. And so like he did this kind of like 3D looking. This was around when bevels were very new. Bevels and gradients were new in Photoshop and Paint Shop Pro. So like he did like this 4D, the fourth dimension was the website, and it was like this remote controller with like a static screen. So like he did like the design that I wanted, and it was so cool the way he did it. And he had like mouse over hovers and stuff, which is so easy to do these days. But that back then it was actually kind of a big deal. And so we kind of worked on that together. So that was cool. The costume. Oh yeah, the Naira spike till. I remember the spike till. I love that thing. Um, there's the costume shop. Yep, the costume shop. Level 16 and level 25 is where you could get to it, and there was a gate. I think that's the castle. I think so. Chat log. No. Ooh, the chapel.zip. Butic. This is like This is like one of the weirder projects where I was doing a bunch of like different like things. I was naming them Butech. Um, if you look in here, you can see, yeah. So like the fountain, a number of stuff. Like a lot of people don't know this. A number of the stuff made it on the server because I snuck it in there. Like Gallon was so, I don't know if he was on drugs or what. I wouldn't be surprised if he was, honestly, knowing everything I know about life now. But he truly was chaotic. And I'm not just saying that because he called himself the god of chaos. Legit, I'm just saying I think he was chaotic. Trying to get him to do things was nonsense. And he would always do random shit that made no sense. I don't think he wanted to, like, he would put things on the server that made no sense. And I'm telling you, he wasn't paying attention because I would sneak things on the fucking server sometimes. Like the fountain, the Stone Grove Fountain, which is the fountain of the gods today. That is that I snuck that. I snuck that on the fucking server because like Futad and Unix Matt had a falling out, and that was so epic. You guys, Futad was a big deal back then. Futad was the server. He was like a server administrator. And I really liked Futad. He's French. I think he's from Canada. So like he speaks French, I think. And so like when he left, it was so sad. And so I wanted to put Futad and a number of other people into the fountain. And like, yeah. So that's kind of what that was. And you can see like things have like the word Naira in it. Like I just shown you in like the video before this. Naira was my guild. They kept trying to hide my stuff. Like they would take all my stuff. They would take all my stuff and then claim I didn't make it. And they would deny that I had guilds. And then like I had like the God of Gravity guild and and so like I had the God of Gravity statue on the fountain, and then I had the God of Gravity like temple. So you could get to on Destiny, you could go to the God of Gravity. It's the Gravity Temple is the God of Gravity temple. It's Antago's tower. And so like I had all of these things going on there, but then like Gallon and them would just be like, oh, even though Gallon's the one who gave me the God of Gravity like guild tag too, like retroactively they started like trying to like claim that like none of these things existed. They'd be like, Naira never existed. I don't remember Naira. God of Gravity, oh, I don't remember that. I don't remember sending you that guild tag. I don't remember approving that. I don't remember you making those levels. Oh, that's not what happened. That's not how that happened. They just started changing history constantly because they were taking so much stuff from me. And it got to a point where like I realized like if I want to make facts known, I have to sneak stuff in because they were hiding facts constantly. So like Naira supposedly never existed, but that was just their way of saying Pachuca hacked you. I'm going to gaslight everybody and try to kill you and your guild by claiming it's not real and never existed. Even though it shows up in like old Jesus Freaks news posts and you can hear me talking about it, and like the more I talk about it, I keep finding like remnants of it, like the word Naira in my file names. I would like stick the word Naira in front of stuff because Naira was still my fucking thing. It was still my like the first like guild thing that I created. Like the website had like I remember like the background was like a giant like rainbow spectrum with black text. And it had like those like 90s animated like GIFs and stuff and like the page counter type stuff that you find in Angel Fire. It was through Angel Fire. And Pachuca replaced it with his like raping corpse thing. Pachuca was a fucking psycho. You know, like at one point he had that leafy floor tile that was chasing him around I told you guys about. He changed it. This is where I got the idea. I actually got the idea for having like a quest from a poem for the gravity boots from Pachuca's the Black Graal. You guys don't know about the Black Graal. That was like epic as fuck. So his leafy floor tile became the Black Graal. So like when Pachuca was walking around, he had a Black Graal following him everywhere. And the Black Graal, which you can still see in graphics, it was and is, I think, still the most coveted item that Graal has ever seen. It did everything. It was his god. It was his god power. It was his little god of mischief like guild tag, and they wouldn't give god guild tags to anybody but themselves. I got one just because I don't know. I guess like I earned it, and so like I got mine, and then but like I never had a Grail until like Destiny, where like when I finally like I had an orange Grail. Mine was orange, and it was like filled with Centaur blood, and it was like so like my Grail was orange, but Pachuca's Grail was fucking black, and it followed him everywhere. You guys, it was just the craziest thing. It was such a crazy time. You don't even understand. Like it was such a crazy time. His levels are so cool. Like you would walk through the southern map. I remember when he first released them. There's like a little golden. There was a golden. It was a golden road that you had to walk through. And when I first got down there, I was one of the first people to get there, and I don't remember why or how it was. It was just because always like I was always there like when things were happening. And so like when he first dropped those levels, I was there. And I was like the first person to be down there. And I was like, there was nobody else down there. He had just released them. I think it was at nighttime. And I was like walking through it, and it was so fucking, he's so weird. His imagination is so weird because he's a fucking weirdo. He's a psycho. But I like what he does creatively. It is weird. You'd walk through this golden brick road down through this weird like brown dirty path with like the impassable stone like dirt spikes, and he had like these weird walkways and enemies and these like weird like blue house thing that was like bright cyan blue, and like the stuff wasn't working. I couldn't get there. I remember the first time I had got to the golden road, there's like this black space. There was like black spaces in different places, or like blocks in different places. Like he had like these things that were like blocking things off initially, to blocking things off. And I was like, Pachuca, I was like, your stuff ain't working. How come I can't get in there? And he's just like, and this was before accounts, so he couldn't get rid of me. And he was like, go away, Antago. He's like, you aren't welcome on the server. I don't like you. And by the way, and he's like, this stuff isn't finished anyway. I was like, I was like, just let me know when. And so I waited, and I was one of the only people who've ever actually played his levels. They were not on very long. Very few people, but they were fucking awesome, and they were a true part of like history. And like you'd walk through this little golden gate, and like when they were finally working, like the first time when they weren't working, it was so weird. I just remember because it was so empty down there for so long. There was like fields, like dark woods and weird stuff down there for so long. And then like when he released his levels finally, and they connected to his Rainbow Palace, like I remember thinking, what a weirdo. Like, who would have thought to use this golden path with like these other tiles? Like he would do things that other people wouldn't do. And I found that inspirational. So like, anyway, you go through the path. I wish I could explain it to you. It was just it was bizarre for the time. And like, he had these NPCs that spun around, and they were kind of like triangular shape, I think. And they had like these mouths that, there were these spiky mouths that stuck up, and they would like spin around, and they would like flip over and like burrow down into the ground, and then they would come up out of the ground and like catch you at a different point. He had weird stuff. I don't know if he's the one who had the sharks. I think those came later in the northern part, but I know that he had these spinning things, and then you'd go through like this big swamp area, and like a lot of his stuff was so like, Pachuca would half-ass stuff. Like some stuff just was like junky and not working, or like you'd like go through like one room, and it was just like a room of different rooms, and every time you went to this like the rooms were changing, but like it was the same room. There'd be like 20 different versions of it, and so like there'd like trees would change. Like I think that was part of his newer levels, where like you went into this like tower place, and like inside it was like Pachuca's castle. and it was so fucking creepy. Like one thing that was also super creepy was like the Azrael head with like the shaggy hair. Like Pachuca would switch back. Like that was the Pachuca, and then like the head with the red eyes and the horns was the Pachuca head. Again, nobody could get these heads. So like this was like like it's a weird time back then when there wasn't all of this stuff that like makes Graal feel so fun and friendly and costumey and you can change this and customize that. And at this time it was very dark and weird and people sending you porn and threatening you and like it's just horrifying. It was a dark and murky era, and every time, like every day you woke up and entered the community, it was like an act of courage. Like it was a war. We were always at war, and like his levels were so fucking weird. Like I remember walking like through them, and they were difficult at times. He had these new NPCs. He was a good NPC scripter. Um, and like his Pachukite head, like I remember just thinking like that's Azrael's head. Even though it's your Pachukite head, like that is Azrael's head, but it would show up all over the place in his levels, and it was supposed to be like his servants. And sometimes I think it was like representative of him, even though his head was the head with the red eyes and the horns. Um, and there was this weird stuff. I wish I could remember all of it. I don't know what happened to it. But yeah, sadly that went away. Sorry, I'm rambling. It's just I don't know what happened to all that stuff. But he took away Naira. That's my point. And he was always trying to destroy Naira and pretend it never existed. And like they would refuse to give me a guild tag because like Pachuca hacked it, and so like Galen's like, no, it's destroyed. I was like, no, it isn't. Just because he took a website down doesn't mean it's fake. So I started putting the word Naira in different files. So you'll find the word Naira like in a bunch of different file names because it lives on and it is real. I don't want to go through everything. I just think like reminiscing is fine. What does ant mean? I don't know. Oh yeah, the globe. If you can find the globe. See, I had a globe that followed me around. Um, so like the orange grail that I was talking about earlier, um, that was part of a quest. So like that's like the orange grail is my thing, and but the globe like was my leafy tile slash. Even though he had the black Graal following him, like because it was originally his leafy tile, and so like I did something weird where like I took a clothes rack and I stuck a stone on it and it looked like a globe. So like I had this globe that followed me, and it would. This is one of the reasons why like I don't know. Anyways, I had this globe following me, and I was able to administrate my server that way, without having to log into the RC, so I could use my globe to do admin control stuff in the server. Sky World README. Oh yeah. Right. So here I talk a little bit about the Sky World. The Sky World's a whole thing, dude. I'm telling you. Oh look, Il Panther's Tavern. I don't know why they removed it. Il Panther's Tavern was a total thing. I don't give a fuck either. Whatever. Can I see what's going on with? Oh look, a log between Lycia and Hawk. This might have been it. I don't know. This might have been the movie. I don't know if that was or not. The little plays that we used to do. I don't know. I thought those were bigger file sizes, to be honest. What is Game Flash? Oh yeah, the chance box. There's a ton of stuff in here, guys. Um, I'm not gonna go into everything. Here's the 40. I don't think we can get into it though. There's a really cool thing. Oh, is that it? That's it. I'm telling you, my stuff is organized. That's it. I think that's it. Adventure 1 and Adventure 2.gif. 1.2 megabytes, 4.6. I think that's it. I think these were the plays. I think I was, yeah, like I said, the 4D thing was like the fourth dimension. It was like this little like remote controller with like a static screen. But I think that's what it was. Like you could watch. The idea was you were supposed to be able to watch the plays that we had created in the screen on the fourth dimension site. If you can get this, you can get the old plays. That's where the old plays were. We had plays that we put on, and I'm telling you, they were terrible, but they're still like a relic of the past. Um, and that's them. It's in the fourth dimension. All right, you guys, I am going to end this. There's a lot more folders in here. I don't need to go through all of them. But yeah, so, and I don't know where the Glotica files are. I have, they might not have even been in my desktop folder. Sometimes I would stick things in different places. Like if they were immediately under construction. Like sometimes I would have like a separate folder beside, because this got so full of mini files, and so like if I was actively working on Glotica, I may have threw it into a separate folder. It might be in here. But anyways, I'm going to end this and let you guys just use this. You know, I just think that there's so much history. Other people don't know it. There's a lot of misinformation out there. And so, like, somebody has to tell you guys this stuff because it is historical. And there's a lot of stuff that, like, shouldn't be forgotten or lost. And people don't know the truth of how it started. And there's a lot of agendas by other people trying to take credit for it because they never made a name for themselves and they're sad about it. And they want to make themselves out to be something they're not. But there's a lot of history all over the place.